how to knit, how to seam together two bound off edges. For this tutorial, you will need a pair of knitting needles. Special thanks to our sponsor Skicel for providing today's needles. Today we are using their Addy Lace interchangeable clicks in the size 8. A darning needle, and a ball of yarn. Special thanks to our sponsor Knit Out of the Box for providing today's yarn. Today we are using their 100% merino lamb's wool line in the color purple. Sometimes you're going to want to seam together your fabric, like maybe you're making an infinity scarf or a sweater, and you're going to need to seam together two bound off edges. So that's the finished edge of your fabric. And to do that, we're going to use a pretty simple technique that's going to make this look fairly seamless. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a darning needle with a waste piece of yarn that's in a contrasting color. So that's going to let us see a little bit better what it is that we're doing. So I've already threaded our waste yarn through the darning needle, and let's go ahead and get started. For step 1, we're going to take our two pieces of fabric, and we've made two little swatches here that both have 20 stitches, and we are going to butt up the two bound off edges next to each other. Now normally we would lie this flat down on the ground, but I'm going to work first through the bottom piece of fabric. Now for step 2, we're going to take our darning needle and we're going to insert it into the very first stitch here. And we're going to go right through the middle of this stitch. If you can see, we've got our eyelets here that are going, and we're going to go right into the middle of the stitch, coming from behind and going towards you. And we're going to bring that waste piece of yarn most of the way through. You probably want to leave a little bit of a tail there so that you can weave that in later. Now for step 3, we are going to take our top piece of fabric and we're going to come over the top of this bound off edge, and we're going to go behind these stitches right here. So we've got kind of our arrow that we've created, and we're going to go right into the stitch and behind the arrow. Okay, and we're going to draw the yarn through with our needle. Okay. Alright, so the last thing that we will do for step 4 is we're going to go right back into that same stitch that we did before, and we'll draw the yarn through and pull tight. Okay, and then we're going to repeat this sequence all the way across, going into each of these stitches. So let's do that again. We're going to start at step 2, going into the next stitch, and we want to make sure that we're not coming in between the side here, but we're actually coming in the middle of the next row of stitches. So we can see I got our arrow stitches coming down. We want to go into the same arrow stitches on the next row. So we're going to come from behind going towards you, okay, and then we are going to come up into the next stitch. We're going to get right behind these stitches here. Okay, and we're going to come through, make sure that we're coming over the top and not from behind. Alright, we want to pull that pretty tight, not super tight. Okay, and we'll finish up by going into that middle stitch, the middle of that stitch where your other yarn is coming through. Okay, right through the center of that. Okay, so we can see now how this yarn is kind of mimicking the stitches that we've made before, where we're coming in and through, just like we were doing down here on the stitches that are below it. So this is a real simple way, which is a couple steps that we can seam together these two bound off edges, and it's going to look real nice. So we finished seaming together the two swatches that we've created here, and you can see that we have a nice little seam here that's, if we were using the same color, would be virtually invisible. Now on the back side we have these nice clean ridges here from the bound off edges, but they won't really show through on the other side. So that's how you seam together two bound off edges. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.